our say is based upon mainly one poem by Mary Oliver, but I've taken the liberty of being able to listen to two of them. Those words that we had at the start of the service, "Tell me now what is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life," comes from Mary Oliver. Many of you may know her, but for those who don't, she was an American poet whose work reflects a deep communion with the natural world, as well as a belief that poetry shouldn't be fancy. She had a devoted following, including some of us here, and she was really known for her plain language and accessible imagery. She escaped into nature and into books. Words and woods offered her solace, and she really embraced them, noting that the beauty and the mystery of the world out in the fields or deep inside books can re-dignify the worst stung heart. She died in 2019 at the age of 83. So let us hear probably one of her most famous poems, and it's going to be read by Julia.
Thank you. Okay. Probably. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who's eating sugar out of my hand, who's moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who's gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Chloe. We sing our second hymn, number 33, and that's in the Green Book. Our second morning is another of Mary's poems. It's called Mysteries, and it's read by Jen.
Mysteries. Yes, truly, we live with mysteries too marvelous to be understood. How grass can be nourishing in the mouths of the lambs. How rivers and stones are forever in allegiance with gravity, while we ourselves dream of rising. How two hands touch and the bonds will never be broken. How people come from delight or the scars of damage to the comfort of a poem. Let me keep my distance always from those who think they have the answers. Let me keep company always with those who say, "Look," and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads.
Thank you, Jen. We come to a time of quiet reflection. So please settle yourself in your seats, get as comfortable as you can. If sitting for a period of time, though, is a little tricky, then please just stand at the back of the church and move around as you wish. You may wish to close your eyes, adopt a soft focus, or even just focus on the chalice. And then I'd like you to come to your breath. That source, that life force, that exchange of the breath in and the breath out, the oxygen in, what is no longer needed out, the equal balance of life force for us and for the natural world. So let us just get in touch with that, just in touch with our breath. The rise and the fall, the breath in and the breath out. We take two words from the poems that we have heard. The first is precious, and the second is marvel. I invite you in the silence that follows to think about those two words in the context of your own spiritual pathway. What is precious about your practice? And where are the marvels? We'll sit together in reflection with this just for a couple of moments, after which Stuart will play a short piece of music. Let us pray together. Divine Spirit, the marvellous and the mysterious, the divinity that surrounds us, the God of love and justice and compassion and courage. Let us be reminded of the gifts that we have in our lives. They may be large and they may be small. We may have challenges, questions, struggles. We bring them all to that which we don't know. From this sacred space, we send prayers into our community, our towns and our villages, our cities, to those who feel they have nothing, to those that do have nothing. We send this light of hope and justice to the corners of the world where it seems there is none. We give thanks for all that we have, all that we are, and all that we share. Amen. Hopefully, on your seat when you came in was a piece of paper. It may have been blue or orange or something. Hopefully, you've all got one. Speak now if you haven't got one. Also, those of you in the front row would have had a pen or a pencil. Those of you behind, if you look in front of you in the well of the chair, there should be a pencil. You may have to share between the two of you because we don't have that many pencils. There is a method in my madness about you sharing a pencil because it means you have to speak to the person that's next to you. So it's one way of getting to know each other. What I'm going to invite you to do, hopefully something quite simple. Through that reflection and meditation, we were thinking about things which are precious and things which are marvelous. So I invite you to write just one word or two words. Just one on each side. So you get one chance or two chances. And you might have one that's related to preciousness, one that's related to marvelous. Don't think about it too intently. Just either the thing that came to you while you were sitting. If nothing came to you when you were sitting, make it up now. And if still nothing comes, it's absolutely fine. The things that we do here in this church are totally optional. So if you want to pass, that's all good. So I invite you to write a word on one side or both sides, something that's precious to you, something that you marvel at. And then I invite you to bring them and place them in the basket. If you feel drawn to light a candle, you may do that too. I'm asking you to do quite a lot this morning. Some of you may have thought, I'll just come to church and have a really nice read. No such luck. And again, if all of that is just too much, just sit back and enjoy. Stuart's going to play, I think, while we do that. Is that right? You're going to be quiet? Yeah. Okay. Quiet while we write. Can we music when we bring them? Yeah. I'd like some playing. Okay. So, yeah. Write on your bits of paper, pop them in the basket. If you want to light a candle, do so. Stuart will or will not play during what we do. Sometimes we do these things and maybe 2 or 3 people come, and other times the basket is full, which it is this morning. I won't read all of them. I'm just going to read several of them. Wisdom, insight, the breath, clouds, Chris, cats, I'm not sure what the first word says, but the second word says friendship. Wonderful, gorgeous, silence, sunset, wonder, kindness, friendship. I think it says love. Catherine. I'm on a roll now. Sunshine, quiet, the natural world, friendship, the senses, the things that we do, progress, connection, health, every day. The South Downs, animals. Oh, someone just, this is the thing about Unitarians. They just don't listen to the instructions. They just go, I'm not doing it on one word, I'm doing it on member, but I'll let this one go. Being a member of the Unitarian Church, I'll accept that one. Being friends with people, I accept that one. Family, Dharma. Shall we hear them all? Might as well. Rain, more friendship. Connection. Oh, trees, got a picture as well. Excellent. Kindness, a book. Summer breeze. And we could launch into music, couldn't we? More friends, more trees, novels. Brighton, the sea, the sun, please come. My nieces, the rain, friends you can be your true self with. Oh, more trees. Sam, joy, peace, divine timing, synchronicity, nature, splendor of trees, music, connection, wonder, family, my cat, the seasons, mum and friends, friendships, the human spirit, Joanna, friends, friendship, laughter. For those of you online, I know that probably you have also a wealth of gifts to give, so we're extracting them from the camera. And hopefully they're in some of these that have already been written out. I would like to say that the two furry friends here, theirs would be a word that starts with B and ends with S, something they can eat. That would be theirs. And BED. Thank you, everybody, just for being willing. And we have just an incredible plethora of beauty, of preciousness and marvel. So I invite you at the end of the service, I hope, I didn't say this before, but if you are precious about what you've written, come at the end of the service, find it and take it. But if you're not precious about it, I invite you to just dig deep, take one when you leave, and you can take that into your week, and hopefully that will help you. We have a very short piece of music, I think, that Stuart's going to play, which basically our collection will be taken during that piece of music. For those of you new to Unitarianism, each church is autonomous. So we have to raise our own funds. We don't have a central place that gives us money. And that money goes to keep the church open, do services and keep us open during the week. We ask if you can and able to make a contribution, or send a little purse round. we have a little card reader if you don't have cash. And please, if you don't have money, it doesn't matter, because you are here in this church and you are with us in this church, and you are more important than your money. But we would like your money. So I'm going to send the offertory round, and we'll just listen to Stuart for a few moments. Thank you. I wanted to make them dance around. Anyway, thank you so much for your generous contributions. They really do help to sustain the work in this church. I was fortunate enough to attend summer school a couple of weeks ago, not in person in Derbyshire, but there was a way of attending online. Some of you may not know that we have a summer school every year in Hucklow in Derbyshire, and that's where our retreat centre is. And we meet for a week for summer school, and within that time, it's really an immersion into Unitarianism with fellows, with morning talks and engagements, groups of art and craft. There is wild swimming, of course there's wild swimming, activities and singing and eating and drinking and sleeping, not very much, and just really quite a wonderful time. This year, like the last few, there's been an opportunity to join an online engagement group for 2 hours a day online, which is what I did. The group was facilitated by 2 Unitarians, which gave an opportunity to look at topics linked to the theme, which was sustainable living, in a safe and supportive group. We began our 6 days of adventure together by reading the poem that we heard this morning, Mary Oliver's Summer's Day. This was how I got to choose to do a bit of a homily to Mary, although I'm sort of actually quite amazed that I haven't done it before. But here we are with Mary as our focus and her poem as our focus. And during the week, we looked at our precious life, and we explored our physicality, our mental and our spiritual and our financial and our personal relationships, all in a week. It was quite impressive. And each morning we had a question posed to us to reflect on these areas. But really, the main focus of it what we're doing with our wild and precious life. And as we did the exercise just a few moments ago, what are those things we hold precious and marvel at? We've heard a little bit of Mary Oliver's poetry this morning, and I think it probably is quite an accessible format. And I'd really invite you to explore some of her other work when you've got a moment. She reminds us of the beauty of the natural world in that first poem by examining a grasshopper. You can just imagine her crouching down in the grass, examining this insect's way of doing things with awe and wonder. Maybe we've done that at times, stopped and looked at the sea, or a little animal moving around, or a flower, and we can only look with awe and wonder and maybe say, wow. That reminds me of Anne Lamott, who wrote a book about prayer. She talks about wow, and she talks about help and thanks. It's an easy way to connect with the Spirit or with God, whatever you wish to choose it. That help, thanks, wow. And like Mary Oliver talks about that wild and precious life, how do we engage with those things that are beyond comprehension, but bring us back to what's really important in our lives? She takes us on a journey. She's not frightened to ask the big questions. Who made the world? That's quite a punchy beginning. And then she takes us into her. But she also asks us to reflect what we're doing, how we're using our time, how we see the world. She says, or she said, I'm not afraid to ask the question, and I'm not vague about my answers. She always had a big goal. Her goal was to write one really good poem. Well, I think she, well and truly exceeded that. And that line at the end, what do you plan to do with your one wild and precious life, can be seen on corkboards and mirrors, framed in embroidery, written in cards. They are words worth remembering. But she asks a question a couple of lines earlier. Tell me, what else should I have done? Falling down in the grass, being idle and blessed, strolling through the fields all day. She really asks us, what is a day well lived? The poem of the title is Summer's Day. Well, I know we are edging away from that, but I, like many of you, are still in denial. I still think, no, summer's still coming, it's coming back, it's coming back. So maybe we say, how will I spend this day rather than this summer's day? Not the one that we'll be in tomorrow, but the one that we're in now. So maybe we need to think about what a productive day looks like. It may look a lot less like a day tied to screens and email God forbid, housework and errands, but the astonishing affair of getting to know the grasshopper. There she is. She's coming back. There's the reply. She talks about that occasional time and space to stroll through the fields, to hold a little bit of sugar in our hand and see what comes along. Her poems are about holding attention, staying curious and being grateful in a world that thinks it has all the answers. She says to pay attention is our endless and proper work. That's pretty tricky to do unless we have that connection of what is precious to us, what we can marvel at. For some of us, the marvel may be the way the cartoons change on the screen as we're playing online games. For some of us, it may be listening to a choir who reach those heights of, how do they do that? For some of us, it may be when we've sown and resown and resown, and finally something comes through the earth. That awe of that first little shoot. For some, it may be the memories of our precious loved ones. I don't think that was anything to do with me. I think that was like my precious, whatever Zoe's got in her pocket type of thing that begins with a B and ends with a T. But I think if she could speak now, I think her advice would not be about striving and pushing and goal crushing. I suspect she would implore us to lace up our boots and simply go for a walk. It's a great reminder, isn't it, to pay attention to the details, pleasure in the little things, but also to remember that we only get one precious life, in this body. So as Oscar Wilde says, be yourself, everyone else is taken. I like that. Live authentically with passion and with love. So when we're out and about in this week, we may wish to stop and ponder what is in our precious life that we hold so dearly. Is it the finance in our account? That's nice. Is it our beautiful homes? That's good. Or is it the awe and wonder that transcends anything material? I invite you during the week to just take a moment and to reflect on your own wild and precious life. Amen and blessed be. We sing our final hymn, 233, Others Call It God. essence of love and beauty, the face upon the cloud. Some call it consecration and we did it. Just. I'm going to leave you with another little poem, and it's called With Love as My Guide. Amidst the swirl of life's challenges and fears, and even moments of crisis, I make time to gaze at the night sky to see the vastness there, and to remember that this moment in time is but a flicker, not an inconsequential flicker. For what I do now and think now does matter. My work, though, is to let the debris of this world pass by, while I anchor myself to what I know to be true. Love, kindness, compassion, and caring for this precious life, this precious planet, and all that calls this place home. This is my North Star. With love as my guide, how can I possibly go wrong? May you go in love, in compassion, and in peace with your wild and one precious life. Amen.
you.